All right, here at Gillette Stadium, everybody, I got Jeff Howe of The Athletic. I got Tom E. Curran of NBC Sports Boston. Nobody knows football better than these two meatheads right here. And I want to start AFC East, guys, because it's the bread and butter for both of you. Aaron Rodgers, now a member, now inside this division, under center with the Jets. Tom, how does this change the balance of power inside the division?
It really makes, I think, guys, everyone more cognizant of the Jets than they have been. You know, you look at Sauce Gardner, you look at all the changes they made offensively, and they just didn't have anything in terms of an answer offensively because of their offensive line, because of Zach Wilson. Now they have what should be a turbocharged quarterback. Can Aaron Rodgers do what Tom Brady did, what Peyton Manning did to the Bucs and to the Broncos, respectively? I think the Jets were such a mess offensively last year that with 28 offensive touchdowns scored, people are expecting them to be one of the most prolific offenses in the league. Jeff, I think that's kind of an oversell.
He has reinvigorated that roster and the locker room. There's a lot of young guys in that team and a lot of young talent. They've drafted as well as any team in the league over the last 2 years, maybe even the last 3 years. So they just needed somebody to stabilize what they've kind of been doing. And he's been, from what I understand, a really good teacher. And it sounds like a different sort of Aaron Rodgers than the one that the Packers had in the last couple of years, because he has brought in guys and said, I've been able to win. You guys haven't gotten there yet. Let me show you how to do it. And he's good at conveying a message without yelling at somebody and making sure that, you know, they feel bad about themselves every time they walk away. And I think that's done a lot for that locker room. There are still some questions in the offensive line, whether an all-star caliber cast like that can really come together and win. As somebody told me this offseason, I've seen this movie before. So I think what it does for the division, though, is it makes it a lot more difficult for somebody like Buffalo to skate through.
Okay. I was just going to say, is it Super Bowl or bust for the Bills this year?
I think it has been for 2 years. I mean, this is a team that is absolutely good enough. They have the quarterback in place. They've gotten far enough to a point in the playoffs where you could say, all right, this team could absolutely win it. The big concern is they still don't really have a running game beyond Josh Allen. And when you're a team in the North that doesn't run the ball, then it's really hard for you to win those games in January.
Okay, so how difficult is this division going to be to play keep up if you're the Patriots, Tom?
Very difficult, because it's not just the interior inside the division games, it's everywhere else that they have to deal with teams like, you know, the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Giants, who were resurging last year, the Cowboys. So there's so many good teams that the East is playing that it's going to be hard for the Patriots to catch their breath. I think that the Patriots are a much better team just by dint of adding Bill O'Brien. I mean, team won 8 games with negative coaching influence on the offense.
For sure.
Shouldn't O'Brien coming in be worth 2 wins? But then you say, well, but the schedule might be worth 3 losses. Yeah. So is it a wash? But to me, the Patriots have such disarray on their offensive line and a little bit of an overrated defense relative to what they did last year, that I think they could be in closer to treading water than making gains mode.
I mean, you could make an argument in the AFC North that like all 4 teams capable of making the postseason here. Who do you have coming out on top in the AFC North? Let's go. You have something to say about the Browns?
Talk me off the ledge, but I think that people forget how recently Deshaun Watson was one of the most entertaining, scintillating, transcendent players in the NFL with his dual threat ability. It has been a while for a variety of reasons, but he's 27 years old. And I think that Deshaun Watson is going to put that team on his back a little bit. I love that division, Jeff, because of so many different styles and talents, but you also have, you know, it's an original 6 type division.
Yeah, and guys in that division think that they have the best division in football. And one thing that they pointed out to me is because they all went 1-1 against each other last year, which shows the parity that everybody sort of knew that they had. I'm all in on the Bengals. I think this is the Bengals' year. Burrow to win MVP, the Bengals to win the Super Bowl. I really like what they've got. They've got a young defense with a lot of speed. So I think it's the Bengals' division. But what can Todd Monken do for the Ravens' offense? I think that's the big unknown. And teams in that division are really wondering what that offense is going to look like. It's a new style, and Monken called an unbelievable college football playoff. And then the Steelers are a team that probably is getting overlooked, but
you know, it may be a boring offense, but they're never going to be terrible under Tomlin. I think they just find a way.
They're just standard fare every year. You understand what you're going to get. You're never going to get a 4-win season, but you're probably not going to get a 13-win season either. So everyone's like, well, we'll see what they look like in November. I wonder, is Zay Flowers the best toy that Lamar Jackson has had?
he's so
I mean,
young.
I don't want you to go so historically, but I mean, to me, he could be a player that really is the jetpack to that offense.
I don't know if I'm willing to go that far with
Okay.
a rookie. I think
slow your
Mark
roll over there,
Andrews,
Curran.
and there's been
Trying to be enthusiastic.
there's been some talent. I don't know. I'm willing to anoint a rookie in that offense.
He's the
just yet.
jetpack.
All right, so that's looked at as arguably the best conference in football, or best division in football, rather. AFC South looks like it could be the worst division in football this season. We know the Jaguars, America's team, the cream of the crop there. This could be a division, though, depending on what happens with Will Levis. You have 3 rookie quarterbacks, like, starting at one point. Which one is better set up for success, Jeff? You think it's C.J. Stroud there with the Texans, or do you think it's Anthony Richardson with the Colts?
That's a hard one to answer just because neither team is really set up for success. I mean, it's just in the immediate, in 2023, I just don't see it happening.
Okay.
I mean, this is the Jaguars division. The Titans are probably going to be slightly better than people think, but is it going to be enough to catch the Jaguars? I don't know. And then you've got 2 teams that are on the upswing, but it's going to take a while. I mean, the Texans are a team that they might win 5 or 6 games, but a lot of people who are on their schedule think, hey, they're going to be a really hard team to play against, not dissimilar to the Lions from a couple of years ago. Wins won't really be there, but you got a chance to. It's going to be a tough team to play against with DeMeco Ryans. In terms of which quarterback, I mean, I think C.J. Stroud in that system is going to be good for him. I think Anthony Richardson is going to be able to make more plays as a rookie.
Tom's obsessed with him. Tom loves how he just looks like he's been chiseled out of granite, this athletic freak.
Yeah, it's really, to me, it's going to be a Justin Fields 2.0 type season. I mean, you're going to have more occasions when you're watching Red Zone or the highlights at the end of the day, and you see, oh my God, that's an unreal play. Yeah, but he went 13 for 39 for 86 yards. Yeah, but that play was unbelievable. So I think that Anthony Richardson is going to be on kind of maybe a similar arc to what Justin Fields was on. He's going to have some bad games. He's going to have some tough days. But I love how his attitude, his upbeatness, and the way the team seems to be gravitating towards his personality, too.
Yeah.
I think he's actually more closer in line to Josh Allen.
Okay.
And the first couple of years of Josh Allen's career where he would make some great plays. But I mean, remember how many times were we here in Foxborough, especially on a windy day, when Josh Allen would make like 3 great plays in a row, and then he'd throw a ball that would go over the mascot's head on the sideline. I think you're going to see plays like that from Anthony Richardson, where he's just going to absolutely wow and dazzle everybody. But there's going to be a check down that he sails 4 feet over somebody's head because he's still working on the mechanics and the fundamentals to get that accuracy in check. I saw them on, I think, August 1st when he had a really, really good practice. I mean, people have knocked the accuracy in the Colts. Certainly, I just pointed out the fact that he needs to improve his accuracy. The Colts know that too. But I mean, this is a guy who can deliver a really crisp ball, intermediate and deep down the field, hit guys in strides on crossing patterns so they could make plays after the catch. I mean, he's a kid who, once he figures it all out, he's only 21, unbelievable leader. All the qualities you want off the field. When he figures it out on the field, he's got a potential to be dangerous.
I got Trevor Lawrence as a dark horse MVP candidate in that division. We know Patrick Mahomes is more than capable of winning most valuable player in the NFL. What could prevent the Chiefs from winning their 8th straight AFC West title?
Nothing. I mean, I just don't think that something is missing for some reason with the Los Angeles Chargers. They just seem to have a glass ceiling that they are annually bumping up then
They shoot themselves in the foot quite a bit.
Well, we saw that. They riddled their feet with bullet holes.
Yep.
I think Denver's going to be a lot better than people expect. I really like the cultural fit that Sean Payton's, taking in and putting on those guys, the expectations. But I just think Kansas City's too good, Phil.
Could be complacency. A couple of years ago, one major issue that they had, and you saw it come to a head in that AFC Championship loss to the Bengals. They were up 21-3, and then Patrick Mahomes just kept forcing the ball down the field. Whereas if he took that short, horizontal stuff, they win that game by 3 touchdowns, and it's not even close. I mean, does Patrick Mahomes get to that point again? I mean, he was outstanding at getting away from that stuff last year, so I think that's huge for them. But I think that really, I'm going to counterpoint you on the Chargers. If there's one major reason, it's going to be the Chargers.
Okay.
And they've got Kellen Moore in there. Yep. They love Kellen Moore, and not only what he's able to do with Justin Herbert, but put those skill guys in a position to make plays. And that was a big draw that Brandon Staley had for him, seeing what Moore did with the Cowboys skill players, and they know each other. There's a familiarity with those two. And I thought something that was really, really stuck out from this summer, being able to travel and meet with these teams. Brandon Staley looks at Kellen Moore the way that he did sort of opposite during his 1 year with Sean McVay.
Well,
And I think that's a really interesting nugget.
see, that's important because sometimes you look at a team and you look at their results last year, especially if you're at some remove covering the AFC East and the Patriots, and you go, same quarterback, same head coach, same. So it's good to know.
All right, guys, that's how you do what you just did for the AFC. We got NFC coming up on tomorrow's show.